If DEI isn't forced as a focus, you will not have representation and inclusion of minorities, regardless of foundation of merit. And that's why it needs to be a point of emphasis. What is your response to that argument, and how do you assure that everybody gets a fair chance?
Right. So here we got Chris Cuomo, and he did kind of bring up they need more opportunities in terms of people in the DEI categories. But he did make a new point for the debate for the left. The left says, hey, not only do we need opportunity, but we actually need diverse voices in government, in private sector. So if we don't have DEI things that encourage diversity in the workplace inside the government, then we're not going to have these diverse voices that we need in order to make sure that all of society is being heard. Every person, every group, every gender, whatever category, that they're all being heard.
DEI, and it's a construct of DEI, hasn't even been around long enough to even make that kind of a claim. We've had diversity viewpoints, diversity ideas, not just in the federal government, but in the private sector for decades. The equity piece that was really introduced during the Biden-Harris administration at the federal level is the one that has a cause of concern because it ignores merit, it ignores skill sets, it ignores the ability to actually do the job and puts your demographic criteria at the front of the line before your actual qualifications. Look, I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to make sure that people who are getting jobs are qualified to do them. That is most important. But you can't put just diversity for diversity's sake ahead of qualifications. It's not 1972. It's 2025. We're in a different phase in the United States of America.
Right. So in terms of the voices, he's saying that, hey, we already have many diverse voices. We don't need a program in order to force companies, force the government to bring diverse voices to the table. Now, his point about on the end part of this clip was really interesting. So he was saying that it's not that diversity shouldn't be included when hiring someone. It's that maybe DEI has put diversity ahead of other areas. Like it's put diversity ahead of competency. So therefore, we're hiring people based on the main factor, which is diversity, instead of competency being the main factor. That's a key point of what the right believes. And then we're going to see a little bit of anecdotal from his own side, his life.
And what about people of color who are qualified but don't get the opportunities that people who are in the majority get because of the inclination of employers and legacy and other acceptance mechanisms?
Well, let's just dissect that for a second. There's always going to be a legacy bias because the truth of the matter is that people who have legacy or have different connections, they're going to provide those connections to their children. That's just a fact of life. That's not a white thing. That's a parent thing. Every parent does that regardless of their skin color. You could look in the NBA right now where you have a lot of prospects moving up who are now the children of former NBA players. Why is that? Because their parents, their fathers actually went through the NBA process, whether they were superstars like LeBron James or not superstars, but they were able to use their connections to help their children achieve a better path forward in professional sports. That happens in every industry in our country. So put legacy aside. The key piece is if you have the talent and the ability to actually walk in the door and earn a position, yes, you sometimes have to work your way up from the bottom. I started my career in 2003 out of college. Black kid in Southwest Florida, had no connections. I started at the bottom. I worked my way up. This is how it is supposed to work. But if you just supercharge somebody past the initial starting blocks, do they have the requisite skill to get there? And do they have the requisite experience to stay there?
Yeah, so this is very anecdotal. It's just kind of saying his own life experiences that he didn't need DEI. He just worked hard. It was merit-based, and you can accomplish great things without DEI programs. That's the debate of DEI. So DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. I want to know what you think. What do you think about it? Are you for it? Are you against it? Do you think it needs to be done, but it needs to be changed? I want to know what you think. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, you could subscribe, like, comment. I'm Tyler Covington with Center Leaning News. I'll see you next time.